My second favorite thing to do here in the greater Panama City Beach area, aside from fishing, is boating. And today we're going to talk about the greater Panama City Beach area and the different boating. Now, listen, I've gone offshore. So I've been in the big offshore rigs. We've been in the bay boats, the center consoles, the bass boats, the skiffs, the micro flat skiffs. We've been in the kayaks, the john boats, the pontoons, and everything in between, folks. Not only do we have really, really good boating, some of the most boat ramps I have ever seen between these two cities. I'm going to consider them one for today, but also the absolute variety and accessibility to the different types of waters, whether you're talking about Gulf, beach, bay, marsh, lakes, freshwater, saltwater, brackish canals, everything, folks. And I'm going to show you just all of the boating opportunities and really what it would be like moving to Panama City if you're an avid boater. Now, make sure you subscribe because we are going to make a fishing version of this video. And if you're new to the channel, my name is Greyson Roberts. I live here. I absolutely love it here. I have a business, a kayak charter bit. Like we do all sorts of fun outdoor activities on my main channel. And if you'd like to purchase a home, let me know because I would love to get you in contact with someone I deem fit for your situation, your budget, your property type, whether it's beachfront, in the woods. It doesn't matter what it is, folks. Let me connect you with the right agent. Let's jump into my computer. Okay, I am screen recording, so this is going to be a little bit laggy running this software while I'm trying to screen record. If you're curious what software this is the Salt Strong software. You're going to see kind of some of the insane benefits I get with it. If you'd like to try it for 30 days free, you can click the link in my description. I do work with them, and you will get 30 days free and all of these different highlights right here. We're not going to talk about it in today's video. We'll talk about it in the fishing video. But essentially, these are the hotspots. It uses an AI algorithm and a bunch of other nerdy stuff to compile exactly where the fish are biting. It's super, super cool. But for today's purpose, we're just going to remove all that. There's all sorts of fun stuff, more important towards the fishing side of things. But in case you are interested, you can try it for free with the link in my description. All right. Anyway, let's showcase the different types of water types. And then at the end of the video, I'm going to show you all of the different boat ramps. Okay, so first of all, you have access to the Gulf of Mexico. Super quick and easy. Of course, here is the St. Andrews Bay, and I live over on this side. We operate the kayak charter over here, and then you've got all sorts of fun stuff. I mean, we have been freaking everywhere, folks, but let's start with the offshore Gulf. So if you're looking to go offshore, if you're looking to catch some red snappers, some grouper, or really anything, dude, going out there and catching anything that is offshore, you know, kings, cobia, all sorts of fun fish, you already know. This is the St. Andrews past the inlet right here, and this is actually St. Andrews Beach State Park. And spoiler alert, one of my favorite spots is actually around this corner right here. But the boat ramp, we're going to talk about the boat ramps at the end of the video. But you launch here, you do have to pay. I think it's about $16 if you want to get into the park and launch a boat. I could be wrong on the price, but you launch out here, you come through, and you can go offshore. And I will pull up the contour lines to kind of show you the depths real quick. And as you can see, it gets to about the 50, 60 mark pretty quickly. And, you know, you go 14 miles out, you know, you're in 100 plus foot of water. So the first things first, that is the offshore access. And actually, since we're talking about offshore access, let's go ahead and talk about Crooked Island, which is down. Let me get these contour lines off here so it loads a little bit better. Come on. There we go. Okay, so here's Tyndall Air Force Base. Coming through here. Now, here is the St. Andrews Sound here. Okay, so look at this. This little area is called Crooked Island. Now, I'm not actually going to do too much in depth here because this is a phenomenal fishing spot. But point being is you can launch at some of these ramps. You will need Air Force Base access, which is actually really cheap. It's the Tyndall Air Force Base. You can get access online, which of course I do have. But point being is here's another access off into the Gulf. And me and my buddy actually launched at one of the ramps over here, drove all the way through in his flat skiff, came over. We parked at right around here in about 15 to 5 foot of water fishing for tarpon. And we actually ended up getting an insane, oversized, giant bluefish topwater fishing day. But this is another access straight off into the Gulf. So really, you've got a couple options here. This is the most popular, of course, because this is, you know, it's a whole different ballgame, but we'll talk about that another day. So those are your offshore options. And of course, it is super fun, super easy. And we won't get into the fishing too much, but you've got the jetties right here, which is awesome. And you can actually access these by land, and I fish these sometimes as well. So you do have the open offshore Gulf. All right, now let's move inshore. Of course, boating inshore is absolutely awesome, but a lot of folks don't realize how beautiful the bay is, how phenomenal the fishing is. And I fish almost exclusively inshore, but more specifically on the flats. I do like to do some bridge fishing, of course, but mostly on the flats. All right, folks. So as you can see up and through here, you've got inshore, you've got Shell Island, of course, that's up in here, but really moving way up. Let's talk about this area, for example. This is one of my favorite areas to boat because you have a lot of beautiful bay beaches. Now, it doesn't look like much. It looks like the water goes right up to the tree line, and at peak high tide, it does, which it is showing here. This is another cool reason I like this software is you have a bunch of different satellites here. So let's see if we can get a different tide. Let's see what the best image is going to be. That's showing a little bit more of the beach, the being sat. So look at this. So like what I like to do is I like to pull the boat up in here and I'll beach it and then I'll swim. You know, it's a few foot of water. Like I'm talking 2 to 3 crystal clear. Nothing in the water really besides fish. But even on this area, there's less crabs. But point being is the bay beaches are absolutely beautiful. And this is some grass flats that I absolutely love catching trout. And I film a lot of my videos on my main channel there. But then you've got these gorgeous bayous, go way back up in there. And the inshore fishing is absolutely awesome. Now, I'm not going to give away the spots right now, but there are some snapper holes. There are a lot of different spots that you can get the big fat fish, the big red snapper that you don't actually have to go offshore. In fact, I think I've caught more snapper offshore, but I caught my biggest snapper inshore, if you can believe that. So there's all sorts of amazing inshore fishing, and I absolutely love inshore fishing. Now, down up in here, you've got more marshy areas. Well, we'll talk about that here in a second up north in the marsh and the rivers and stuff like that. But inshore fishing here is absolutely awesome. You've got the Hathaway Bridge here, and you've actually got 2 boat ramps, one here, one there, and you can fish this bridge, which has obviously a lot of great stuff. You've got more flats over here, less beachy stuff, more commercial and residential, but phenomenal fishing. And then we move back up into here, and that's another bridge. This one's, the first 2 bridges, let's see. That's about 50 foot deep. That's about 50 foot deep. This one is like, maxed out at 20. It's a lot shallower. But moving up into here, we'll talk about the next type of water. You've got more bayou. This is some more beach up in here, but you've got a lot of different options. Okay, so you see the difference in water here? This is saltwater. This is the bay. This is freshwater. This is Deer Point Lake, which is super cool. And this is, you can get some bass, a lot of cool stuff up in here. This is freshwater, folks. So you have a freshwater lake. There's a boat ramp here. There's one more up and around this area, and I think maybe one more up north. But also, it connects up into the rivers and creeks. So up here, the David West Hutchinson Park has a beautiful boat ramp, and you've got some awesome, awesome fishing up into here as well. And this is mostly freshwater, and you can go up and around the bend, and it gets really, really shallow, tons of stumps. This is actually a really, really cool area I have a full video on. But the fact that you can just go straight to freshwater lakes and rivers and creeks is super, super cool. So you do have a nice variety. Now, we've talked about the freshwater lakes. Let's see. And there's actually some more lakes, so I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to find it here. I've never hit it. It's really, really, really small. But there is, I think it's Lake Martin. This one might be a brackish lake. There's one specifically. Oh, here we go. You've got little lakes like this. Look at that. Little freshwater lake right here. And you actually do have a boat ramp. So we're going to show you at the end of the video how many freaking boat ramps we have if you haven't picked up on it already. This one doesn't have the best parking situation, but you've got a handful of smaller freshwater lakes, and that's not the only one. There's actually another one somewhere around here that has another even smaller boat ramp. I can't think of it right now, but the point being is you've got offshore, you've got inshore, and you've got the freshwater lakes, which is super cool. All right, let's go ahead and jump up north into some of the most fun boating that I have had. Now, it took my little teeny tiny 10-foot plastic pontoon boat to get up in here, but you could do it with a John boat. You could do it with a kayak, but it's these up in here. So you've got the Burnt Mill Creek ramp up in there, but I went down the Crooked Creek ramp, which should be, let's see, I think it's like right up here. Where is it? Am I even looking in the right spot? Is that the ramp right here? Yes, that's the ramp. So this thing's an absolute humdinger, dude. This is one of the longest, steepest ramps, and it is not the most fun to back down. But you also have a fishing pier up here. But look at this. So you've got this awesome creek. It's just absolutely beautiful here. I have a full video on my main channel of it, and then you come around. But it kind of spills off into these little marshy areas, which I think is super cool. So in the video that my wife and I filmed earlier, it was actually later last year, less than a year ago. We came with our little pontoon boat and our trolling motor, and we trolled all the way up in here. And this was in the winter, and they had fish, and it was just super cool. It doesn't look like much right now, but when you are deep in this thing and it's all marshes, and it's just it's pretty sweet. There's marshland all around, even down towards the Gulf. But just going up in here and exploring and just kind of having fun and just a different type of fishing is a ton of fun. And there's a lot of fish up here, especially in the winter. And overall, it's just a really fun experience. And I can't show you all of the marsh kind of areas. My favorite marsh area is actually a super good redfish fishing spot that I don't really want to blow up in this video. So that way I'm just kind of showing you a couple areas. But we're not talking about fishing right now. We're just talking about boating. Anyway, so you've got creeks, lakes, rivers, offshore, inshore. We've talked about the marshes. Now, finally, we'll talk about some ponds. Listen, folks, it's going to be harder to find here because it's not as tracked on this software. The ponds aren't, but you have 1,000 ponds here, all the way up into Panama City Beach. Now, I showed you most of the spots in Panama City, and that's because, well, we'll find out real quick that most of the ramps are actually on this side of the city, as you can see. So all of the red markers are boat ramps, and we'll pop up here, and all of the purple, or is it blue? I think it's purple. Yeah, blue is tide stations. All the purple spots are kayak launch spots. So this is super freaking cool. Anyway, with the ponds, you can throw kayaks in there. You can even throw like my little pontoon boat, maybe even my John boat on some of them. Some of the ponds are so big, they're actually like big lakes. You know what? There's actually a freaking place up here it's a disc golf course. Is it this? Yes, look at this. My wife and I went here the other day. This is absolutely nuts. Okay, so this place has 9 freaking ponds. I don't even know if I can count them right here. Some are really big that you can cover by foot, and some are so big that you just flat out need a little boat. Not like an electric boat, but ideally a kayak, because listen, this is a disc golf course. This is a public park. You're not gonna be launching your freaking bass boat in here. But anyway, like this body of water right here, even this one, like they're so big that you could seriously benefit from throwing a kayak or a fishing paddleboard or even a small John boat. But look at this. This isn't really boating. We'll talk about this in the fishing segment. But point being is, even if you're a kayaker looking for some easy bass, listen, you can drop in any of these. Like this one's huge. This one's decent size right here. This one, you really need it. Even this one right here, you've got more. So point being is, whether you're offshore, skiff, bass boat, kayak, doesn't freaking matter, folks. Everybody can have a good time here. Now, let's just look at the sheer amount of freaking boat ramps, guys. I'm going to tell you, personally, some of my favorite boat ramps to hit are going to be the ones down here. The boat ramp I actually use 4 days a week is not showing up because it actually is a Tyndall Air Force Base restricted area. But like I said, you can get the pass. It's really cheap. It's like $15 a year. And then you get access to their recreational spots on the Air Force Base. And they have some awesome ones. And that's how you get to Crooked Island. But anyway, so look at this solid boat ramp. Like all these I've hit. Like these are all great. I haven't hit the marina one. This is like the Panama City Marina. They have a really good restaurant over here I really appreciate. But yeah, look at that. There's the boat ramp out to the Gulf. You got all sorts of smaller ramps up in there into the canals and to the residential areas. You've got more boat ramps over here. Here's another really small little lake, but it's totally brackish. In fact, it's pretty much all salt. As you can see, it spills out into here. But you've even got a boat ramp in here, and I went not kayak fishing. I went paddleboard fishing up in this area as well. Super calm. But of course, you've got mini boat ramps on all your bridges, which is super handy. You can just see how many access points, which is great because it means that you have more access points. So you don't need a huge boat. You can survive on like a little boat. most of the time when I go fish, I'm literally on a 12-foot John boat with a trolling motor. Like I just keep it simple, keep it slow, keep it calm and shallow because I like to flats fish. And it's so awesome because I can get to all these different amazing points and spots so easy because there's 1,000 boat ramps. And like for example, if you have small boats like me, you can launch at a lot of kayak spots. Like you can turn around and you can back your trailer up into here, which we do all the time. Not necessarily in this spot, but a lot of spots I launch aren't even boat ramps. They're not even parks. They're just straight up beach that you can find around the city. But point being is you have a great variety of fishing here, or boating here, of course, fishing. It doesn't look like the Salt Strong app is going to show me the freshwater ramps. I know for a fact there's a ramp up here, and there is at High Point Park, I do believe. Watch this. Yep, there's the ramp. I freaking know this place. So there, it's not going to show all the freshwater ramps. It might show this one. No, it won't even show this one up here. So there's even more ramps all in the freshwater area, which is super cool. But folks, as you can see, it's not even showing all of the ramps. I know for a fact there's more ramps like this one down here that I like to use on the base. But look at that. Look how many freaking options you have. Look how accessible it is. I do wish that we had a ramp right in this area because this fishing, especially at the mouths of the creek, is really good. But you can hop in at West Bay here, put in, and go to the mouth there. That's a little bit out of my way, so I don't really go up into the creeks in these areas too much. But as you can see, Panama City Beach has some decent boating options. The most that you're going to do is probably around the Gulf area, around the St. Andrews area, and up towards the bridge and inshore in this area. But as you can see, the options are unlimited all throughout here. And we can get into the nitty gritty freaking detail all the way down to Mexico Beach. As you can see, Mexico Beach, from my knowledge, we just exposed that one boat ramp I like. To my knowledge, this is really it for Mexico Beach. You've got this, you've got the little canal here, and then you go straight out into the Gulf, which is awesome. So you do have another option past Crooked Island into Mexico Beach. But point being is the boating around here is freaking awesome. Lots of varieties, and the fact that there are so many boat ramps means that they're not really that crowded, which is huge for me. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed. Hit like and subscribe. We'll make a fishing edition next, but don't worry, I'm not going to blow out all my spots, just generalities and show you the possibilities. And if you want to check out the Salt Strong software, which is super cool, and you can actually see the fishing spots, and they are actually super accurate. I test them all the time, weekly, and I'm always getting on fish when I go to these spots. So, and I'm always getting on fish when we don't go to those spots. That's how much options you have here. Anyway, folks, hope you enjoyed. Happy boating, and I'll see you next time.